In order to undo how the system treats human beings through the court system here, we need more than just, knowing the law and sticking to it. We need reform. We need people's rights to be recognized. We need people's dignity to be recognized in the court system. And that's why I'm teaming up with Norm Siegel, because he is going to be a great public advocate. He's in the tradition of Arthur Kenoy and Bill Kunstler, real good progressive civil rights attorneys. And now he wants to run and represent all the people of New York. And so I'm honored to be able to present him today. So thank you. Thanks for being here.
One of the issues that we're facing in New York is the systemic issues. And those are the policy questions. And there are at least two things that I want to mention to you tonight that I think we have to work to try to change in New York with regard to tenants' rights. The first one is the vacancy decontrol law. And that was put in so that when the rent reaches a certain amount, the apartment is removed from the rent laws with regard to rent stabilization. And that was done in order to have more apartments that would be on the market, because landlords were complaining that they weren't making enough. I don't buy that, but that's what their argument is. And the people up in Albany then created the vacancy decontrol law. We have to, especially out of New York City, we have to repeal the vacancy decontrol law, because that's the way we preserve affordable housing. If the apartments are taken out of rent stabilization and they're in the marketplace, then we're going to have less affordable housing. So it's very important to repeal that law. And the second law is the Erstadt law. This was a guy, Charles Erstadt, who was in power back when Nelson Rockefeller, who was a Republican, was the governor of the state of New York. And it's called the Erstadt law. And what that says is that we in New York City, our city council, doesn't have the power, doesn't have the right to determine the rent laws for the people like all of us here who are New York City residents who are living in apartments. Bad law. Bad law because first, it denies self-determination. People should have the right in the city of New York to determine the laws that affect their apartments. And second, as a practical matter, when you deal with the law up in Albany, the people in Albany are generally not progressive, and they're not the people who are going to be empathetic and supportive of the issues for people in New York City. So the Erstadt law has to be repealed so that the city council, not that the city council in New York City is great, but I'd rather take my chances in how we're going to have the rent laws developed, changed, altered, strengthened, enhanced to protect people's rights than up in Albany. So those are the two issues that, as far as what I call systemic issues, policy issues, that, for example, if you're talking to any politicians, elected officials at the state level, in the city level, or any candidates that are running, we've got a lot of candidates that are running for the city council next Tuesday, you should be asking them where they stand on one, the vacancy decontrol law, and two, the Erstadt law. And from my perspective, the right answers are, I want to repeal both of them. And if people say to you they want to keep those laws, question them. Why? Why do you want to do that? Isn't it true that, the things that I've just made and made the arguments, because that should tell you that perhaps the people who are running are not necessarily pro-tenant. Now, you don't have to necessarily be pro-tenant and a landlord. You could be neutral and fair across the board. But from my perspective, it's better to have people who are pro-tenant, who are for the tenants, so that they'll look at the issues from a perspective not only of fairness, but also of the interests of working people who are tenants, as opposed to the landlords. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some landlords that are pretty good people, but generally, I think that the tenant is put in a situation where the tenant is not being treated equally to the landlord.